to Bowl Game Radio with Bruce Binkowski and Mark Neville on San Diego's sports leader, the mighty 1090.
Welcome back to our fourth and final segment here of Bowl Game Radio on the mighty 1090. And a reminder that Bowl Game Radio is brought to you in part by National University. Accommodate your busy schedule, your life, your university, National University. And San Diego County Credit Union. It's not big bank banking. It's better.
And we do have a caller. Tim from Lakeside's on the air. Tim, you're with Bruce and Mark. Thanks for calling in.
Hey, guys.
Fire away.
Hey, I wanted to know, do you guys worry at all about the new bowls popping up in Bahamas and Miami and those other places listed? Does that hurt you guys at all?
Well, you know, there are a lot of bowl games, and a lot of people will say, hey, there are too many bowl games out there. But I would say this. For San Diego, we have just the right number of bowl games. Does it concern us, too many bowl games? Sure. But for San Diego, we're fine, and we're going to be able to have, with the San Diego County Credit Union Poinsettia Bowl and the National University Holiday Bowl, enough opportunity for some great teams and great games to make it work.
And by the way, Tim, thank you very much for your call and calling into Bowl Game Radio. You know, it is interesting because there are a lot of bowl games, but you also look at some of the games that are out there. The games are created for teams that don't necessarily get a chance to play in bowl games. You know, so for the Sun Belt Conference, for example, right. You know, and there's some bowl games that if you ask a player who played, let's say, in the GoDaddy.com Bowl or in the Liberty Bowl or something like that may be a Sun Belt team or a MAC team, ask that player on that team if there's too many bowl games. They'll probably say no, because they wouldn't have gotten a chance to play in a bowl game had those bowl games not existed.
We don't have time, because we're near the top of the hour, to go into that discussion about bowl games and playoffs and all that. But I will say this, that are there too many bowl games? Like you said, ask that student-athlete. Take, for example, we had Northern Illinois several years ago, and Northern Illinois hadn't been to a bowl game in years. That game in 2006 against TCU in the San Diego County Credit Union Poinsettia Bowl was the biggest game in the career of 99% of those players. That meant everything to them. So you ask them if there's too many bowl games? The answer is no.
It's really funny. What I remember about that game may be better than anything else. Garrett Wolf, at the time, he was the running back for Northern Illinois that year. He was the leading rusher in the country, and he comes to San Diego to play against TCU. That team was so excited to be here in San Diego to play that game. It was the first time that a player had ever come up to me and thanked me profusely for putting on this big show for them, and they were so excited that to be playing here against TCU in San Diego and enjoying this trip. It was a week-long trip that those guys will never forget. It'll be with them as long as they live.
And not to mention the economic impact that the game creates, all the fans being able to travel to Southern California. So, you know, if you're ever going to call in and talk to us about we don't like bowls, we like playoffs, you're talking to the wrong people.
But we would like to hear from you.
We would love to hear from you. Yeah. But we don't have time today.
We don't. And Tim, thank you again for giving us a call. And that wraps up our show for this week. You've been listening to Bowl Game Radio.
And some thank yous before we wrap it up. Certainly to Ted Tollner for being our guest, for Dr. Michael Cunningham from National University, from Jake Trotter, and our helpers here, Susan Reed and Devin Adhev, who help us put on this program, Jack Cronin, and from the Mighty 1090, we have a lot of people helping us put on this show, and we'll be right back here next Wednesday night, 6 o'clock, live from Humphreys.
That's right.
We'll be at Humphreys for the Moody Blues concert. We'll talk about that next week.
Yep. So we'll see you next week, everybody. Thanks again for tuning in to Bowl Game Radio on the San Diego Bowl Game Media Network and the Mighty 1090.